So today we're gonna be doing 3 rounds of this workout. We're gonna be on the ground the whole time, and then we're gonna work for 45 seconds, and then we're gonna rest for 15 seconds. So that way we can get a nice rest period there before transitioning to the next movement. So all you need is 1 set of dumbbells. I always recommend 2, but only 1 is necessary. And this one we might want to go a little bit lighter because we're gonna do a lot of chest work, which sometimes our chest is just a little bit on the weaker side just from sitting like this at the computer normally. So we're going to go ahead. I'll go ahead and get started with the demos here. So first movement, you can use dumbbells for the glute bridges if you would like. Oh, I need to move my camera. I'm used to standing up. All right. So I'm not going to use dumbbells for this one, but if you would like, you can place dumbbells on your hips right here during the glute bridges. We're having our feet hip width apart here, all the way on the ground. We're going to push through the ground, lift those hips all the way up. We're squeezing the glutes. We're holding for 3 seconds at the top, and then we're going to come right back down. So pushing into the ground, we want to make sure our feet are directly below those knees to protect our knees here. Squeeze in, hold 3 seconds, and then back down. So then our second movement is going to be a floor press. So this is basically a bench press without being on a bench. So we're gonna have our elbows at 45 degrees. I'm gonna go ahead and show it in this direction because it's really hard to see my arms on the ground. So our elbows are gonna be about 45 degrees. We're gonna push up all the way out until those dumbbells are directly in front of the shoulders, and then right back down. So from the ground here, elbows are down, pushing towards the ceiling, scooping up, and ending up with the dumbbells directly below or above the shoulders, and then back down. So those dumbbells are gonna be at the bottom of the ribs at the bottom, and then at the top of the arms, and then back down. So that is going to be the floor press. And then the next movement, we're going to do glute bridge extensions. So it's a very similar kind of like a kick at the top. We're going to move a little bit slower. So again, push the heels to the ground, holding at the top of the glute bridge the whole time. We're going to alternate our feet, kicking out one leg, squeezing through the quad, back down, and then the other leg again, squeezing through the quad and back down. So this one's similar to a knee extension. So it's going to work our quads a little bit more while we're really activating those glutes, just like with marches, making sure our core is staying tight so our hips are not moving side to side. We want those headlights to blind the ceiling the whole time. So that's going to be our third movement. And then next up, we're going to do some flies on the ground. So with that, we're going to start with the dumbbells. Palms are going to face each other right above those shoulders. We're going to drop those arms towards the ground, and then we're going to scoop back up, squeezing through the chest. So I'll show from this angle again. So we're starting out here, coming down. So those hands are a little bit below the shoulders, and then scooping back up. So we're going to feel that really all in this area in the chest. When we scoop up, we're squeezing the chest together, activating all of our pec muscles. Sun is coming up. It's kind of bright today. Good thing we're on the ground. All right, so then the last 2 movements here, we're going to do some more core work here. So we're going to do some dead bugs. So for this one, we're going to take 3 seconds, extending out. So 1, 2, 3, and then coming back nice and quick. So again, extending 1, 2, 3. Exhale, come back, making sure that belly button is into the ground. So that way we use our core. And then last movement, we're going to do some single leg lowering. So we're going to have those legs straight up in the air. We do want those heels to be flexed, but I do notice sometimes when I flex my heels too much, I activate my quads a little bit too much to pull back up. So we want those legs just as straight as we can. Feet are going to be relaxed. Lower one leg at a time. Exhale, coming back up. Again, pushing the belly button into the ground. And then as we exhale, that core is going to be engaged a little bit more. So that's why we do want to exhale as we come up. But that is going to be our whole circuit. So like I said, on the ground the whole time. Love it. So we're going to go ahead and do a quick warm up here. So we're going to actually go ahead and go on the hands and the knees for the warm up. And then we'll move on to the back. So on the hands and knees here, we're going to do some quadruped rocks. Actually, we're not going to do the adductor stretch. We're just going to do regular quad rocks here. So core nice and tight, and inhaling, rocking back, glutes to heels. We can have those knees as wide as we need to get that nice hip stretch. and then coming back up to that starting position. This is really also going to warm the core up for all of our glute bridges and our core work as well. So really making sure we're keeping our butt tucked into the belly button, our back is nice and flat, and we're exhaling as we come up to really help us engage that core like we need to for the rest of the workout. All right, and one more rock back. All right. When we're done with that last one, we're gonna go ahead and warm our arms up a little bit more. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna do some shoulder cars, so C-A-R-S. It stands for something a little bit very scientific, so we're just gonna call it arm circles through the shoulder. So it's gonna help us warm up our shoulder joint. So we're gonna start with one arm. So I'm gonna start with my right arm directly out in front of me. And very nice and slow, we're gonna slowly open up that arm. We want it to be as straight overhead as we can with both of our shoulders facing down. So try to stay down the whole time. Again, nice and slow, we're controlling the movement. So we're controlling our joint, ending with our hand right at the butt with the thumb there. And then we're gonna go ahead and slowly come back again, moving the shoulders through these shoulder muscles and not necessarily through the other muscles in that area. So it's nice and slow coming all the way down. I'm gonna take my jacket off. We're gonna do one more on this side and then we'll go ahead and do two on the other side. So arm is straight out in front by the ear. And again, I'll go from this direction. Nice and slow moving. So we're controlling our joint through those smaller stabilization muscles in the shoulder. Might be a little tough on this first side. I know I have a lot of shoulder issues on my right side, so this side is a little bit tough. And then we're gonna come all the way back down. Again, keeping those shoulders towards the ground, trying not to open up and try to make as big of a circle as we can. Ending with that arm facing forward. All right, I got my shoulders fired up. All right, we're gonna go ahead and do that same thing on the other side. So moving to the other arm. This arm, I know for me, moves a lot easier and it's not as painful on this side, but we're opening up, making a nice big circle, keeping those shoulders pointed towards the ground as much as we can, ending with that thumb at our butt, palm facing up. And then we're gonna come back all the way up, over and around. Great job. Try and make a bigger circle as we can, controlling through the shoulder joint and ending with that hand back where we started. And we're gonna go ahead and do one more. Here. So keeping that ear as close, or the bicep as close to the shoulder as we can for as long as we can. Opening all the way up. And ending with that thumb at the butt, palm facing up. And last one coming forward. Opening up all the way up, over and around. And ending with our hand forward, bicep by the ear. We can go ahead and bring that hand back down to the ground and we are ready to go. My shoulders are really like, I don't know, somehow I got a shoulder pump from that. Okay, so we're starting off with our glute bridges, holding for 3 seconds at the top. We're gonna work for 45 seconds and then we're gonna take 15 seconds to rest and transition into the next movement. So I'm gonna get the timer going here in 3, 2, 1, and go. So we have our feet on the ground, hip width apart here, and we are pushing through the ground, holding for 3 seconds at the top, and then coming right back down, keeping the pelvis tucked. So we're thinking butt to belly button. So when we start, that belly button's pressed into the ground, keep that core engaged, exhaling, coming up, holding for 3 seconds, and coming back down nice and slow. So we probably aren't going to get as many reps in here for this because we are holding for quite a bit, and that is okay. It's going to help us really work on engaging as many muscle fibers as we can. 3, 2, 1, and rest. All right. Next up, we have the floor presses. So we're going to grab our dumbbells, starting with those dumbbells at the ribs, elbows 45 degrees. 3, 2, 1. So we're starting at the bottom, pushing up towards the ceiling, keeping those wrists nice and straight. We really want to keep those elbows nice and tight. The way I like to imagine this is if we are pushing a door open as we push up. So that's where we want our elbows to be. Or like if you were, you know, to like leave the building, the door where you push out is roughly, you know, maybe at like hip height, a little bit taller. So that's really where we want to start. And then we're pushing out in front of us. So we really are acting like we're pushing something away from us. It also could be a person, you know, however you're feeling today, whatever you want to imagine. 3, 2, 1. All right. Great job. Next up, we have our glute bridge extensions. We're going to hold that glute bridge at the top, extend one leg out at a time. 3, 2, 1. So push those heels into the ground, keeping that core tight. If we start to feel this movement in our back, go ahead, drop down, take a rest, reset butt to belly button, and push right back up. We're extending one leg out at a time. The leg that is on the ground, we're really squeezing that glute. So when I'm extending my left leg, my right glute is fully engaged and vice versa. So keeping those hips, we are blinding the ceiling with those headlights, keeping that core nice and tight, squeezing through the quads as well as we kick out. We want to feel it in the quads and the glutes. We're getting a total leg workout here. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we have our flies. So again, staying on the ground, we are starting with the dumbbells directly above us, and then we're coming out to the side and scooping up. 3, 2, 1. So we're coming down, keeping those elbows as straight as we can. A slight bend is okay. We don't want to fully make a W with those arms. And then kind of similar with our presses, where we're starting at the ribs and pushing up. We're coming down towards those ribs. So my arms are nice and straight here, but they're in line with the bottom of my ribs, so same position. And then we scoop up, really squeezing the chest together. We can also have a slight angle in those dumbbells, really working on engaging those chest muscles. Great job. Breathing through it. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we have dead bugs. We're going to extend nice and slow, one arm, one leg, and then exhale, coming back in. So getting ready here. 3, 2, 1. So knees are directly above the hips. Belly button towards the ground. Extend out 3 seconds. Exhale, come back in. So we're extending out 1, 2, 3, and exhale 1, 2. Oh wait, sorry. We don't need to go slow on the way up. My brain is apparently getting confused right now. So 1, 2, 3, and exhale right back in. Great job. Really push that belly button into the ground, pulling the leg in with our core. So it's very common to feel this in the quads. It means we're using the legs a little too much. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we have single leg lowering. So we're going to have those legs nice and straight. One leg coming down at a time. We're getting ready here. 3, 2, 1. So similar to the dead bugs, we're pushing that belly button into the ground, exhaling, and bringing the leg back up. Same thing as with the dead bugs. If we start to feel it in our quads, that means we're using the legs and the hip flexors to pull those legs back in. So we really want to keep those nice and loose, really engage that core. So if you're not sure if you're engaging your core, what I like to imagine too, like, yeah, we can crush that apple or act like someone's going to punch us. We can also, when we're staying here, we can push our stomach towards the ceiling, and that's going to be our core muscles working here. So our core is activated. If we need to press onto the core to make sure we're using it, feel free to do that. 3, 2, 1. All right, great job. Round 1 is done. We got 2 more to go. Starting with our glute bridges, 3-second hold at the top. 3, 2, 1. So pushing through the ground, 1, 2, 3, and right back down. If we're not sure if we're using our glutes, you can always place those hands there. Make sure that you feel those muscles engaged the whole time. So pushing into the ground, heel big to little toe. That's going to activate those glutes for us. And then again, making sure our butt is towards our belly button, pushing through the ground. So we're locking that in with that core. Again, if you're not sure if your core is engaged, you can always make a nice arch and then put that belly button into the ground so that low back is plastered to the ground. That's what's going to help us activate that core. So once the core is activated, we can then push it into the ground. 3, 2, 1. All right, we went a little over on that one. My apologies. All right, we got floor presses next. So grabbing those dumbbells, getting ready here. 3, 2, 1. So starting with those dumbbells again at the bottom of the rib cage, pushing up and coming back down. So again, it's like we're pushing a door open, making sure those elbows are nice and tight. If the elbows are all the way out to the side, what that does is it puts a lot of pressure on our shoulder joints. And our shoulder joints are very, very small in comparison to the other joints in our body. And our arms are only really attached to our body through our collarbone. So we really want to make sure we're protecting our shoulder joints, strengthening the muscles around them. And this movement actually will help strengthen those as well as that warm up we did too. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we have our glute bridges with our knee extension. So we're going to hold at the top. So again, pushing that belly button into the ground, tucking that pelvis, activating our core. 3, 2, 1. So we're pushing up. We want to try and keep a nice straight line all the way from our knees to our hips to our shoulders. Again, making sure if our back is starting to arch, we're going to feel that movement all in the low back. So we're bringing the butt towards the belly button, keeping our glutes engaged by pressing our whole foot into the ground. It does help if we really breathe and focus on exhaling and brace the core by breathing. And again, push that stomach out towards the ceiling. I guess that's actually not a good description. 3, 2, 1. Really trying to think of good cues for core. You can always imagine like you're zipping up your stomach as well, that whole area. Up next, we have our flies. 3, 2, 1. So this is actually kind of like the opposite of a bent over T. But again, coming down. So at the bottom, our dumbbells are in line with the bottom of the rib cage, coming up in a scooping motion. By doing that, that's what's going to engage our chest. So when we're in this position here, we should feel our chest and our pec muscles really fully engaged. Our chest is doing the work here. Great job. As always, it helps to exhale as we are contracting the muscles. So that's going to be from when we're out to coming up, exhaling in that portion of the movement. 3, 2, 1. All right. Now we have our dead bugs. 3 seconds down, coming straight back. I keep forgetting that, so I keep going slow on the way back. 3, 2, 1. So if you really would like to go nice and slow up and slow back, feel free. I do like to move slowly through any core movement, including especially dead bugs, to really make sure I'm using my core and not my legs, because I definitely tend to do that because I've always had a little bit of a weaker core and a little bit of overactive and tight hip flexors. So we're kind of counteracting our body's tendencies. Our bodies want to take the path of least resistance. So we really want to force our bodies to move properly, use those muscles properly, and practice intent. 3, 2, 1. All right. Last part of round 2, we have single leg lowering. So we're going to have those legs nice and straight at the top. Getting ready here. 3, 2, 1. So pressing that low back into the ground, exhaling as we come up. So same thing with the dead bugs. You don't have to move slow, but it does help again with engagement and intent of proper muscle use here. And again, if you need to make sure that you're using the core, feel free to place those hands at the bottom part of your stomach. So these are going to work more of our lower abs. Again, with dead bugs too, it's the same thing. It's going to work more towards the bottom of the abs or our lower abdomen, as well as our low back extensors. So that's why I love these two movements. 3, 2, 1. Both of those movements work our core as a whole, so front and back. So that's why I love them. All right, last round coming up. We're starting with our glute bridges. 3 seconds hold at the top. 3, 2, 1. So again, keeping that core tight. So we're keeping the pelvis tucked, holding for 3 seconds, coming back down. So if we're feeling this movement in the low back, it means our core is not fully engaged. It also could be we are on round 3. Our core might be a little tired. We're doing a lot of core movement today. So really, you can either place your hands on your core or on your glutes, wherever you feel like you need that reminder to use those muscles. It does help if we exhale on the way up as we're contracting into the top of the glute bridge. Great job. 3, 2, 1. All right. Way to go. We're done with those. Done with full glute bridges. Next up, we have our floor presses. So starting with those dumbbells here. 3, 2, 1. So again, with the ribs coming up, pushing up towards the ceiling, and right back down. Breathing through as we are contracting our chest muscles, similar to the scoop of the flies, but a little bit different because it's our pathway of the weights are different. But we still should really be engaging the chest, starting down, coming up. So it's like a little bit of a J motion here. Well, I guess it's more of a J for one side and not the other, but we're starting down, coming up, or an arch, whatever you want to imagine that as. 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. All right. We got 4 more movements. So next we have our glute bridge extensions. 3, 2, 1. So again, butt to belly button, lock it in with the core, push those hips up towards the ceiling, keep those headlights blinding towards the ceiling. Try and keep those hips up as high as we can. Again, if you're feeling that in the low back, either you can place your hand on your glutes to make sure they're engaged, place on the core, make sure it's engaged. And you can also, again, go back to the ground, reset, butt to belly button, press the low back into the ground, and then go ahead and start over. I prefer a quick reset versus trying to push through the full time while we're not feeling the movement properly, or we are feeling some sort of discomfort. 3, 2, 1. I should also say discomfort in the terms of pain, not necessarily that our muscles are being worked, because that's also, well, let's be real, not the most comfortable thing. All right, halfway through this round. 3, 2, 1. We got flies. So starting at the top, coming down, squeeze it through the chest, coming up. Again, scooping up as we activate our chest, coming down and up. So it's, again, similar to that scooping that we were doing for our presses, but this motion is just a little bit different angles, all of that. So coming up, feeling that movement as we scoop up with our chest. Great job. Finishing strong with this movement here, almost there. 3, 2, 1. All right. We're done with that movement. We only have 2 core exercises left, then we'll cool down and we'll be able to go on with the rest of the day. 3, 2, 1. We got dead bugs first, so coming out nice and slow, coming back up. So again, this is a point. This is our 3rd time doing this. Our core for sure should be on fire. We are getting lots of engagement here through the lower abdomen. So if we're starting to feel our legs do the work or our low back do the work, it's time for a quick reset. Exhaling as we come up, really going nice and slow out, and then coming back in. Again, I like to go nice and slow on the way in as well. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Awesome job so far. We got one more movement, then we'll go ahead and do a quick cool down. We got single leg lowering coming up first. 3, 2, 1. So coming down, exhaling, coming up. Using that core, again, we can place those hands right over our lower abdomen, making sure we're pulling through the core, keeping those legs nice and loose. So loose legs, tight core. Pulling up, exhaling. Nice job. Keep that belly button pressed into the ground. That's going to help us engage that core as well. Again, we're at that last round. Core is pretty tired. So really focusing on our mind to muscle connection here. 3, 2, 1. And we are done with today's circuit. Nice job. Hopefully we feel super good after that. I know my core is feeling it. So we're going to go ahead and just do a quick stretch on the ground on our backs. So we're going to stay in that position, making it nice and easy for us today. And now it's nap time, so we're just gonna fall asleep. Just kidding. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna stretch out our glutes a little bit. We did a lot of glute work, so we're gonna do our piriformis stretch. So we're gonna take the right ankle, cross it over the left knee, so that left knee is bent, foot on the ground. And if that tension feels good, go ahead and stay there. Or you can go ahead and interlace those fingers and grab either behind the knee or in front of the shin, and start to pull that knee towards the chest. So we're taking nice big deep breaths. Exhaling nice and slow. Breathing into the belly, really feeling that hip and the low back expand. And one more deep breath on this side. And as we finish up that exhale, we can gently bring that foot to the ground and then our right foot. And we're gonna do that same thing on our opposite side. So crossing the left ankle over the right knee. And that feels good. Go ahead and stay there. Or we can go ahead and interlace those fingers and grab either behind the knee or in front of the shin and pull that knee towards the chest. We should be feeling this stretch right on the outside of our hip, right underneath those glutes. It's going to help us stretch things out. Like I said, we did a lot of glute work, and our glutes and our piriformis muscle under those glutes can get pretty tight from sitting at the desk or riding your bike or doing a lot of squats or doing a lot of glute bridges. So we're just going to stretch this out. And one more deep breath. And as we finish that exhale, we can bring that foot towards the ground and then the other foot. And when we're ready, we can go ahead and slowly make our way to a kneeling position. This is going to be the last stretch we're going to do. So we can either be in a tall kneeling or bring those glutes to the heels, whatever feels the most comfortable. But we're going to go ahead and interlace our fingers behind our back. We're going to push them towards the ground, let those knuckles get really heavy, and pull our hands apart without actually pulling them apart. This is going to open up our chest. We did a lot of chest work, and generally during the day, we are hunched over a little bit. So we kind of want to offset that chest work we did, stretch everything out. And one more deep breath here. And as we finish that exhale, we can gently release those hands. And that is going to be all that time that we have for today. But feel free to stay on the ground. But thank you for joining.